I think it's clear by now that I don't like the current wave of biopics in Hollywood. It feels like Hollywood are just creating an expanded universe of tragic celebrities and musicians. They're making the BCU, the Biopic Cinematic Universe. Okay, Bob Dylan, you go with both Princess Diana's and Freddie Mercury and open up the portal. We can't let Thanos get to the temple. The whole universe is at stake. You might already know that last year I made a video about biopics and I wore this hat. This is the special biopic hat. I wear this hat when I discuss biopics. I know it looks like a tea cozy. And in that video, I made an offhand comment about a mysterious upcoming Amy Winehouse film. Amy Winehouse biopic, yet to be released, I think is wrapped filming now. We've only seen like 3 pictures from the set and it just rubs me the wrong way. And now the day has come where this film is in theatres. And of course, it's just as horrible as I thought it would be. Guys, I was right. And I'm kind of sad that I was right.
I want to be remembered for just being me.
Look, I like Amy Winehouse's music. I like music in general. I'm a music fan. I like the noise in my ears. You know, I've got Amy Winehouse on vinyl. I've got an old, crusty 2007 CD. Also, I had to study the Amy Winehouse documentary for my A-levels. So I did watch it a lot. Maybe that's why this specific thing strikes such a nerve with me. You know, I like that video on biopics that I did ages ago. But one thing I will say is that it lacks a specific look into a case study of a film. We need some specifics on why this doesn't work. So yeah, let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Chapter 1. Doomed from the start. That sounds very harsh, but honestly, hear me out. I don't think there was any way, with all the variables in consideration, for this Amy Winehouse biopic to be anything but disrespectful. But then again, I'm not surprised that it got made. Hollywood love doing the most easy, predictable thing. So they announced this film way back in July of 2022, and as they kept filming, you know, more and more leaked set images came out, and they were already quite, you know, questionable.
What kind of fuckery is this?
It's a common experience now for, you know, photos from the set of a biopic to come out and it just expelling the worst possible vibes. Like all those photos from the Bob Dylan biopic where it's just Timothée Chalamet walking the streets of New York. A lot of the strongest opinions we have about films are spread when we don't know that much about the film in the first place. We are angered at the mere concept of the film existing. A lot of videos tend to do better when, you know, a film is announced rather than when a film is released, because people are more angry at the concept of the film. And the concept of an Amy Winehouse film is immediately that's all I was gonna say. Just I mean, the biggest thing that I have against the concept of this film in the first place is that Amy herself, she would have hated it. She would have hated the idea of a biopic about her life. She was very particular about her output as an artist while she was alive, and definitely would have hated her brand being commodified to this extent, for her story to be told through the prism of a Hollywood 3-act structure. You could never do Amy's story justice. There's so much nuance there. There's so many variables to consider. Even something as good as that Amy Winehouse documentary still has a lot of criticisms, you know?
You know, but frankly, the movie's a sham. They left stuff out. Lots of stuff out.
I did a little community post asking for your guys' opinion on the film, even if you haven't seen it. And yeah, there was a lot of similar opinions being shared in the comments. My only thoughts are why and who wanted this? Amy Winehouse would have hated this movie. I didn't even know this existed, but I do know it shouldn't. Felt like this one was so not needed. It's impossible to ignore the discourse surrounding the Taylor-Johnsons. Also, they did Amy so dirty. Shameful. Also, I spent some time looking at some fan pages of Amy Winehouse, and a lot of them seem to be on the same page that this film is not good. And then you ask yourself, well, surely the people making this film, realised all this. How could you be so blind and think this film is a good idea in the first place? The idea of an Amy Winehouse biopic seems so morally bankrupt. How could you not see that when you're making it? Why? Why? I mean, obviously money, but other than that, why?
We've got to have money.
I think the reason why Hollywood were attracted to the idea of an Amy Winehouse biopic in the first place is, well, the world has already made up their minds about the whole narrative of the situation. We, after years of having Amy Winehouse's story regurgitated to us through the media, we already have an idea of a 3-act structure for a film. And there's obviously more to Amy's life than that, but like, audiences just want to see what they already know. If you're a lazy film producer, then an Amy Winehouse biopic is probably the perfect thing to do because it's low-hanging fruit. It's an easy narrative to manipulate. And I just want to tell all these producers in Hollywood, like, just because you have a vision of a film doesn't mean it's a good vision. Okay? And yes, I'm talking directly to Sam Taylor Johnson right now. We'll get to you in a second, Sam. Amy only died in 2011, which, to be fair, is not that long ago. To do a film on an artist who still exists to an extent in our modern context feels weird. A lot of biopics are built off of this sense of nostalgia for the past. Like, the target audience for a film like Bohemian Rhapsody would be people that have nostalgia for the 80s. But nobody has nostalgia for 2011, do they? Do they? It feels strange to do a legacy film when that legacy doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Before you know it, we'll be doing biopics about events that happened, you know, just a few years ago. Oh wait, we're already doing that. The appeal that Amy Winehouse and her music has with people stems from, well, undeniably, the music is good. I mean, look at the material. Look at the material. But also that in a world of narcissistic performers and manufactured pop music, chart-obsessed musicians, Amy was real. She was like an actual, real human being. Her main priority in life was being a good musician.
People's lives are under a microscope. You can't just be an artist, but everyone's trying to get into your life all the time. How do you deal with that?
Well, I don't know about you, Kevin, but it's important, I think, to just focus on the positive things. It's all right, do you know what I mean?
Do you find yourself changing as far as no matter where you go, you're being watched all the time? Do you find yourself closing in, or are you still trying to maintain exactly who you are?
Yeah, it's all right, do you know what I mean? It's all right.
I guess especially with the drinking in particular, it's one of those things where it's like, do you have to like worry about drinking in public or drinking at social events or...
What's drinking got to do with it?
With hindsight, now that Amy has passed away, a lot of people consider her to be a once-in-a-generation talent. Just a really great musician who was unapologetically themselves. Now, that passionate response to Amy's music that I just displayed for you, Hollywood will look at that relationship to genuine art and think, ah yes, biopic material. Is this biopic material? No. Whenever someone who works in Hollywood has a connection to art, they enjoy like Amy's music, for example, they just can't help themselves but make it about them.
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
It's this level of narcissism where you can't listen to a piece of music without thinking, I could make a film about this. Like kind of living vicariously through the person that you're making a film about. And then daring to say that it's about like an artist's journey or something. Like we want to capture her journey. But no, you want you to exploit the journey for money. Okay, I think I'm ready to talk about the director now. Okay, let's do it. Chapter 1.5, Sam Taylor Johnson. There are films that I don't like, but in order for a film to reach the hate category, I really have to have a hatred for the director, you know? And then you just hate every aspect of the film because you just can't stand the director because they're so annoying. I would say that Sam is most famous for directing Nowhere Boy, directing 50 Shades of Grey, and the grooming of Aaron Taylor Johnson. Groomer. People overuse the term grooming a lot nowadays, especially a lot of right-wing people who hate drag queens. But okay, if you don't already know, then strap in. The director of this Amy Winehouse film isn't really famous for her films. She's famous more for her really weird relationship with Aaron Taylor Johnson, her husband. The two first met on the production of Nowhere Boy when Aaron was freshly 18, and Sam was 42.
Weird vibes alert. Weird vibes alert.
You're not young. I say this to help you.
And look, shout out to all the 42-year-old women out there. You're probably not watching this video, but honestly, shout out to you. You know, I hope you're living your best life. Maybe just don't get married to a boy that is old enough to be your son. That's all I'm saying. Just maybe don't do that. Especially when you're the director and the boy is an actor under your employment. That's so weird.
Sam, what's it like directing your husband in a sex scene with another woman?
I mean, we wrote it together, so I kind of knew what we were getting into when we were writing it, and then it's another thing when you're filming it. And then I did turn to my my first AD, my assistant director, and I said, really, you had to schedule this on Valentine's Day. Thank you.
You shot it on Valentine's Day!
And why is this important to an Amy Winehouse biopic, you may ask? Well, I think it paints a picture of the moral capability of this woman. Sam, it's been so nice working here on the set of Nowhere Boy, you know. It's just a really nice vibe. Oh, there's little Aaron over there. Oh, isn't it nice? Little young Aaron, you know, just playing around. Yeah, he's really talented, isn't he? Yeah, he's great, isn't he? Yeah. I'm gonna marry him. From looking at interviews that Sam has given for the film so far, she seems to be quite a sheltered person. She's in like an industry bubble. She has an industry way of thinking.
When I came onto the film, I said I really want to make this without anyone having any approval so that I could actually creatively make the film I want to make. But I went to the family, you know, really out of respect, and I just wanted to sort of sit with them and hear their stories. So they didn't have involvement as in they could say what I could and couldn't do.
So she went to get approval from Amy's family after she'd written the script. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Getting approval from the family would be personally the first thing that I would do. You know, that's just me. She also says, I wanted to hear their stories.
Sit with them and hear their stories.
I think that's code for I need a little bit of extra information because I've only just looked at the Wikipedia page and that's it. Like, any information that you give me would be great. I joke sometimes that the plot for some of these biopics are so basic you might as well have just read the Wikipedia page. But that's honestly how it feels sometimes. We've all done the occasional 2 a.m. Wikipedia holes where you find out loads of useless information. There's more Culkin siblings? What? Look how many there are. There's so many of them. But the difference between someone like us doing a Wikipedia binge and someone like Sam Taylor Johnson doing a Wikipedia binge, we think, oh yeah, that's some cool information. I didn't know that before. That's kind of interesting. But she thinks, oh, I've just found the plot of my next movie, guys. I just found it on Wikipedia at 4 a.m. Again, you may ask, like, how can a human being not realise that doing an Amy Winehouse biopic is a bad idea? And I must remind you, we are not dealing with human beings here. We're dealing with film producers. Honestly, if this is the level Hollywood is at right now, could you imagine the biopics that haven't been developed? I bet there's some film producers out there in the pitch meeting pitching some absolute madness. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to punctuate with tongue pops. Okay, to recap why an Amy Winehouse biopic is doomed from the start, let's just say in the main points. Amy would have hated it. Sam Taylor Johnson is a weirdo. Her legacy is too recent. You can never truly capture Amy's essence. And Amy's life doesn't work as a commodity. Okay, time to talk about the actual film itself. Jesus. Chapter 2, the film itself. Oh look, a change in scenery. Beautiful cushions. Cozy vibes. Mood lighting. Anyway, let's talk about a horrible film. First off, I have to say, you know, with videos like this, usually you show clips of the film, you give examples, you talk about the film, and then you show scenes from the film. But the film isn't actually out yet. It's out in UK theatres, you know, I went to go watch it, but apparently it's not even going to come out until the end of May in America. Even if I managed to find a copy of the film, they definitely copyright strike me immediately. So yeah, we're just gonna have to go off of, you know, the trailer and clips that they've shown on social media. There are some really wild moments in this film that I wish I could show you. I wish I could just let them play. But honestly, this film is so predictable, you do not need to see it to believe it. Just imagine, you know, the most basic elements you'd think from an Amy Winehouse biopic, and that is 100% what it's like. The opening of the film is literally a slow motion running shot of Amy Winehouse running through Camden with a voiceover of, "My name is Amy Winehouse."
I don't think I was put on this earth just to sing.
If I wrote into ChatGPT, you know, write me a script for an Amy Winehouse biopic, this is 100% what it would spit out. Yeah, a little update on that. I did end up putting a prompt into ChatGPT, and it literally mentions running down the streets of Camden. Like, you can't even make it up. The thing about this film is that it feels so surface level. A lot of the film is just flat out recreations of Amy's performances. Like, there's one of Glastonbury 2008, there's one of the Grammys. From what I can remember, there's at least 4 like full recreations of performances. And trust me, they really go on for a while. I would go as far to say that, you know, it feels written around the performances. There are moments in the film where the plot feels genuinely rushed because they're trying to get to the big performances. It's like, guys, can we wrap this up? Because, you know, we need to get to the 5-minute recreation of Glastonbury. It's so obvious that they wanted to go for a Bohemian Rhapsody style of side-by-side comparison, which is a trend I resent Bohemian Rhapsody for starting. Like, all these biopics don't try to do anything interesting, they just try and recreate stuff that we already know. And I'm sorry, if I wanted to watch Amy Winehouse's Glastonbury 2008 performance, I would watch it on YouTube. Why do I need to watch like a 5-minute recreation of it? Fucking Live Aid, honestly, Jesus. That recreation of Live Aid ruined cinema. It did. I don't make the rules. It did. Oh my god, they placed those cups of Pepsi perfectly. It's so obvious that Bohemian Rhapsody is an inspiration because there's so many long takes where we're forced to focus on the performance of Marissa Abella. That is the actress playing Amy. I'd never heard of her. It's almost like they're behind the camera saying like, wow, isn't this really impressive? Marissa's like memorized all of Amy's mannerisms. She looks exactly like her. Wow. Marissa, I'm so sorry. You know, I don't really know who you are. Your agent probably told you that this is going to be really good for awards. You're going to get a Best Actress nomination. But honestly, run as far as you can away from Sam Taylor-Johnson. Like, run. Like, block her number and run. Again, there are moments where they really want us to focus on her performance. They're really honing in on the fact that, wow, doesn't she look exactly like Amy Winehouse? But I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if she looks like Amy Winehouse. I don't care if she locked herself in her house for a week and memorized all of Amy's mannerisms. I don't care if she had to sit in a makeup chair for like hours and, you know, put on all of Amy's tattoos. I don't care. I don't care if she had to sit in a sensory deprivation tank and listen to Amy Winehouse's songs on repeat. The gimmick of playing someone else runs out when the film itself doesn't have anything interesting to say. There was a scene early in the film where Amy gets back to her mum's house, goes to her bedroom, picks up her guitar, and there's a long take of her beginning to piece together the song, What Is It About Men? Like she's writing it in real time.
For Marissa as an actor to sit there and have the camera on her for those 3 minutes for us to just watch her, you know, write and learn and play a song. If she can sort of pull people in, which she does in that first 3 minutes, I knew that I'd have the audience's, imagination of belief that Marissa is Amy.
I thought, you know, all this could be interesting, you know, focusing on her writing process, focusing on what her music means to her relationship to her own music. That's a part of a musician's life that we don't usually get to see. And no, don't do it again. Nope, they don't show her having a relationship to her music, they don't show her writing her music. They essentially skip over all of that, and then the next scene is Amy Winehouse going on this rant to her manager about how I ain't no Spice Girl, I'm a real jazz musician. I listen to Lauryn Hill, I don't listen to Spice Girl.
Sarah Vaughan, Lauryn Hill. You need to know this. I ain't no Spice Girl.
Sam Taylor-Johnson, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Dragging the Spice Girls? And for what? It's very feminist of you. That's very feminist. It's giving BuzzFeed level feminism. Another major problem that I have with the film is that anytime Amy sings, you know, live or recorded, it's not her actual music, it's Marissa performing. Oh, it's rough. Oh, it's rough. Oh, bitch.
'Cause I'm not gonna meet your mother anytime. I just wanna grip your body over mine.
I'm never gonna have Amy's exact face, so the echo chambers will always be slightly different, but it's about jaw placement and resonance and nasality versus like a chesty voice.
Thought you had so many lessons
Look, this film should not have been made in the first place, but I understand that it may be a tough call to choose between the actress singing or maybe Amy Winehouse singing and then the actress lip syncing it. That's a tough call to make. That can make or break a film. But the way they do it is just so rough. They do it in a way where when she is talking, you know, it's like this. There's echo and reverb and natural sounding, you know, environmental things. But as soon as she starts singing, it's a track that's been done in the studio with auto-tune, and you can tell immediately.
Shit, girl. No way you're only 18.
The really annoying thing is that there's so much you could do with an Amy Winehouse biopic if you had to do one. Say I was chained to my desk and, you know, Studio Canal said, you have to make an Amy Winehouse biopic. You know, I would try and bring some nuance to the conversation. I'd try to do something new and interesting. You're making a film about fame, addiction, love, you know, music. You need to bring something, you know, emotionally complex and intriguing, you know, in order to bring something new to the table. After this show, a long sequence of Amy singing Stronger Than Me, her first single, she then goes back to the record company, has a meeting, and then she does this whole I ain't a Spice Girl thing again. Why are we focusing on this? I need to live my songs. I can't be an industry plant. I gotta live my song.
I don't wake up in the morning and bang out 10 hits by lunch. I need to live my songs.
And then, no joke, after, you know, she walks out of a meeting with her record label, she goes to a pub, and then 30 seconds later, oh, who's this who's just walked into frame? Oh, it's Blake. Oh, that's convenient. Just in time for the ending of Act 1. The way that I rolled my eyes as soon as this man walks into the pub. Are we sure that this film wasn't written with ChatGPT? Have we checked Sam's computer? Have we looked into this? Actually, no, maybe don't check Sam's computer. Like, we don't know what was on there. Don't check our hard drives. That's all I'm going to say. Again, it genuinely feels like they had a list of performances that they wanted to recreate, and then after that, they just kind of like filled in the rest of the plot with some ChatGPT, really basic stuff. Like, the rest of the film revolves around Amy and Blake's relationship, which is understandable. You can't do a film about Amy Winehouse without bringing up that huge relationship in her life, but they do it in such a surface level, basic way. However, one thing about the film that I do like is they write Blake more in a human way. They don't write him as this kind of evil caricature that the tabloids at the time did. You see the appeal of why Amy Winehouse falls in love with him in the first place, which I think is important. Like, Amy wrote her entire second album about this man and how she fell in love with this man. I think that's important to show. That being said, the first time that we see him and Amy do Substances, he says to Amy, "Come on, Amy, I thought you were a rock and roll star." That is a line in this film. It's giving like the kind of PSA that they'd show you in school. Like, come on, all the cool kids are doing it. And they never show Amy with her friends, you know. They never show her with her producers. They never show her with Mark Ronson. They never show her properly in the studio. They never show her on tour. They never show like her actual, proper, true personality. You know, not many people know that Amy Winehouse was like properly, truly funny. There's so many moments that you could pick from, you know.
Amy, how was your performance this evening? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a bit shit though.
So why are you self-critical of your performance?
It was a piece of shit. You look fit though.
Thank you.
What goes around comes around. Justin Timberlake.
His album's called What Goes Around Comes Around.
They don't show Amy's true personality. They do, however, do a hard cut to a dishevelled Amy, you know, buying vodka from a shop. It's supposed to be like a shocking moment where you see her transformation. And when that happened, you know, it was made very clear that this film is not trying to critique the way that the media portrayed Amy Winehouse. It is only there to add to it. The whole plot feels like you could read it off of Wikipedia. There is nothing new or interesting about it. They hit all the main points in Amy's life, like at some point Blake is arrested, like that happens in the film. It was very rushed. They immediately rush towards, you know, the Grammys performance, which they can just, you know, shot for shot remake. Which I understand why they wanted to recreate that, like it's such a cinematic moment. Like, look at this shot of Amy finding out that she won a Grammy. That's a real cinematic moment. But don't base the whole identity of the film just recreating it. Like, that's so boring. Amy was so open in her music, like her lyrics, they speak for themselves. They speak to her real life experiences. How could you not draw from the energy that she exudes in her music? This film was made for people to watch it and go, oh, Oh, isn't that sad? That's so sad. But that is really the only emotional beat that the film hits on. I personally think that one of the craziest things in Amy's life that doesn't get talked about enough is the way the British tabloids and paparazzi harassed her until the day she died. They would camp outside her house, write stories ridiculing her, and that basically gets completely ignored in the film. There's a few sequences, but they never really go into it, even though that's such a huge part of Amy's story.
Amy's a creature of habit. She tends to do things at certain times, so you can almost plan your day. She visits her husband, Blake, in prison at least once a week. She's got a very sweet tooth, so she'll pop out and buy sweets. Normally, there'll be a few photographers here. A people carrier or a car will arrive for her. She'll get in there. We'll get our shots, then everybody follows her on the off chance that she does something different. Last week she was snapped buying some chips.
I personally blame the media machine for, just absolutely ruining Amy Winehouse's life. Back in the day, they absolutely ripped her to shreds. And for this same media machine to pretend like none of that happened, and then to act like Amy's downfall was nothing to do with her being abused by the media, but it was actually just her love life, she was just crazy in love. The media need to take accountability for the way that they treat this woman while she was alive. It's probably the most annoying part of the film. Just the idea that they're just completely deflecting away from the tabloid abuse of it all. And spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the ending of the film. Amy and her dad... Actually, you know what? In the spirit of this film, I'm going to read the ending of the film through the synopsis of Wikipedia. After saying goodbye to her father, Mitch, for the final time, the paparazzi appear outside her gate and reveal that Blake has a new girlfriend and will be having a baby. The film concludes with a tearful Amy singing Tears Dry on Their Own to herself and finishes with her walking up the stairs to her demise. Yeah, the film ends with Amy singing her own song to herself in her empty house, and then there's a shot where she walks upstairs. It fades to black with Amy Winehouse passed away on the 23rd of July. It's horrible. I was in the cinema absolutely baffled when that happened, because it was like, what? That's how you're ending the film? Honestly, at this point, just end every biopic like that. Like the new Michael Jackson biopic, just end it with, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Let me just check my notes, actually. Do I have anything else to touch on? I wrote notes during the film. I'm basically like a critic. Right, just some notes on my laptop. They showed Amy's relationship with her nan. That doesn't really get talked about enough. That was kind of nice. Amy's accent was overdone. I know I did a joke about me doing her accent badly, earlier, but honestly, that is how it was in the film.
I don't wake up in the morning and bang out 10 hits by lunch.
There's a bit in the film where Amy just flat out says, I ain't going to rehab. It's like if you did a Kurt Cobain film and then did a line where he says, guys, do you smell that? It smells like Teen Spirit. Chapter 3, Conclusions. Doing a film on an artist who has tragically passed away suddenly risks the film being embellished and based on rumours and myths about them, because obviously they are not here to speak for themselves. Whereas something like Rocket Man, which is Elton John's autobiography, because he had such a big hand in making it, that is more true to the artist. That's why biopics like this Amy Winehouse one always tend to be bad before they've even been made, because it's such a high risk biopic to make. You can argue that all biopics are commodities, but honestly, doing a biopic about Amy Winehouse is such a tragic misreading of everything that she stood for as an artist. And again, if Amy Winehouse was alive now, she would have absolutely hated the idea of a biopic. It wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't say that they are romanticising or glamorising Amy's struggle. I think they are very consciously not trying to do that, but instead they're doing something worse. They're turning it into content, commodifying it, stretching it out and distilling it to its purest, most basic form. Which is honestly the saddest bit of the film, that it's just such a basic reading of Amy's life. A person like Amy Winehouse cannot be replicated, cannot be mimicked in vocal presence or energy in general. And for her musical presence to be squashed to a few, recreations of performances and I ain't no Spice Girl is honestly, it's a crime. It's a crime. I'm calling the police. The best representation of Amy's life that I have seen personally is the Asifkapedia documentary. There is a reason why that documentary is so celebrated. The documentary uses home videos and unseen footage of Amy. All that they did was edit together all this footage and some voiceovers, so it truly captures her spirit. There's no egos attached to it, there's no style over substance. It really is Amy in her purest form. There's also a really nice documentary made by Amy's parents on the BBC iPlayer called Reclaiming Amy, which shows a lot of Amy's friends and family, something that the film really lacked. I don't think the film industry are going to stop making biopics anytime soon. They'll run out of musicians eventually, but yeah, for now I don't think there's any other option but, you know, deleting the film industry and just starting from scratch. It's such a shame that YouTube copyright exists, because if it didn't exist, I would play us out with a full-on Amy Winehouse song. The bad energy of that biopic really needs to be cleansed out of this room right now. They tried to make me end the video. I said no, no, no. Nope. The camera died perfectly on time again. How did that happen? This keeps happening.
Then I got naughty. I was very naughty, very, very naughty. My friend Juliet and I, when we were 5, at first play, when everyone else went out for first play, we went around everyone's lunchboxes and ate all their crisps. And when everyone came in from play, half of their lunches were missing. When it was lunchtime, half their lunches were missing. And it was me and Juliet, because we were the last ones in from play, because we were just so scared to fucking go back in. It was obvious.
Do you know why you became naughty?
I don't know, I was mischievous, you know what I mean?